Good morning and or good night, whenever you're watching this. So we finish up kind of a why get physically fit and how to stay physically fit. To some degree, we're going to hit some of those topics again in the next unit. And some of the topics we hit today and tomorrow will be familiar, but we're adding two things we've already said and done. So today's focus is about the heart muscle, and tomorrow's focus and Wednesday's focus is about skeletal muscle. So on with it. Pump up my heart. We're not going to go through every slide here, but I do want to review the lesson with you. There's the agenda. You will learn what aerobic exercise is and why it is important for your heart health. So to understand that, we want to understand a little bit about our heart. Once we understand a little better about our heart, we will understand why aerobics is good. Yep, Jane Fonda type, Richard Simmons kind of aerobics. Movement without weights. All right, so here's a fun do now. Which would you rather do? You read through those and answer that just for fun in your mind. We already took your fitness personality, right? Whether you like to do it with a friend or alone, competitively. So go running or lift weights. We'll all be a little different. Perhaps this will be a Flipgrid topic for fun here in the class discussion bit, but we'll get back to this. If so, it'll be in the link by the time you watch this video. So my heart action. The pump that makes your blood circulate is your heart, and that's all the heart is. It is nothing but big chunk of muscular tissue. Heart muscle is its own kind of muscle, different than the muscle that moves your stomach for digestion, different than the muscle that move your arms and legs and neck that we're familiar with. Heart muscle is involuntary. It is just going without your consent. Try to stop it. You can't. It's not like holding your breath, where you can take a deep breath and keep from breathing. The heart has been pumping and has been the longest working muscle in your body and will be the longest and hardest working muscle in your body from time of about, I would say, before 11 weeks in the womb. So we call it cardiovascular because cardio refers to heart, vascular refers to these things, the vessels out here, like the veins and the arms that carry the oxygen and nutrients around. How does it carry it around? Only because this organ right here in the middle, the heart, is pumping and squeezing it around and keeps that pressure going. Without any pressure, you're dead. You need blood pressure. So your blood circulates in your vessels, carrying important nutrients to the rest of the body. So if you follow carefully, let's start at the lungs. So you breathe in and air goes into your lungs, but right next to all the sacs that hold the air, you have thin capillaries that are picking up that oxygen. When I say picking up, really the air is just diffusing into it. And it circulates right back to the heart. And that pump pushes it right back out to the rest of the body. So these are arteries that go up your arms, up to your brain. They also go down to your stomach and your gut and your legs, all the way down to the lower limbs. And that oxygen diffuses out of that blood. And then, and not that it all diffuses out, you have a lot of oxygen left in your blood even after it goes through your organs. But then here's kind of the return circuit. These are veins. All the blood that's dropped off the oxygen needed in the body now returns to the heart. And so it's a little more oxygen depleted, plus all the CO2 as a result of muscular activity all throughout your body. That's a waste product. It must come out. And so it goes to the heart, gets pumped to the lungs, where the lungs will get rid of the CO2. That's your exhale. And then more oxygen comes right in and we start the circuit over. As an example of how, I did post that YouTube video, might be worth watching twice, and that'll be your heart in action. So like any other muscle in your body, your bicep, if you want a bigger, more efficient, stronger bicep, you're going to have to work it out. If you want a stronger, healthier heart, you're going to have to work it out. And the way you work your heart out is not by lifting weights, but by doing aerobics, a lot of activity. It has to get you breathing faster and deeper. So if you work out your bicep, what happens? Bigger, stronger, you can lift bigger weights. Similarly, you must also work your heart out to make it stronger. The only thing is your heart doesn't get bigger like your bicep does. It gets more efficient. That would be the better use of the word strength for your heart, is that it gets more efficient. Just like someone who works out their bicep doesn't have to work as hard to pick up the same amount of weight someone who does not work out their bicep would use. They might both be able to pick it up, but one picks it up with less effort. So a healthy heart, you can breathe, move, and do things with less effort, and therefore less heavy breathing. So here's some different types of physical activity. And you have, we talked about some flexibility. You got dynamic and static stretching already. This is where we've started in the first week. By now, hopefully, if you've been spending your 15 to 30 minutes every day doing one stretch out routine, and now you can begin to vary that stretch out routine, we're going to begin adding this green circle up here, the aerobics. So whether that's housework, I know some people and other students in past terms have told me they can spend anywhere from 2 to 4 hours straight. Now, I don't do 2 to 4 hours straight of housework. I'll do some here and some there. So I could not count housework. But some people can, and they'll just have a day of it every Saturday. So housework is a physical activity that takes some aerobics. You might work up a good sweat just doing that. Swimming, hiking, bicycle riding, soccer. These are all aerobic activities that particularly strengthen your heart. And so they're considered aerobic. So strengthening is important, and we're going to get there. That's going to be the last part. And I didn't want to do any kind of strengthening until we've covered this unit. So by the end of this unit, we'll start strengthening. But things that use muscles, push-ups, volleyball, wall sits, rock climbing, that's strengthening. Running, you see, is a little of both. Gymnastics and yoga is a little bit of stretching and strengthening. Tai Chi, a little bit of aerobics and flexibility. Look at that, right there, the funnest one of all. Dancing is all three: strengthening, aerobics, flexibility. Let's work on a good dance. And as you've already learned, intensity is how much force, weight, the magnitude required to perform that physical activity. All right, so this is where I would normally pause in class and show you the video and kind of walk through the valves in the heart, showing how the heart is just a big muscle that pumps. Okay, you can watch that later. This activity we've kind of already done here, so you should be familiar with taking your pulse, whether in your neck, the carotid artery, or whether the radial artery. The goal here was to learn how to check your pulse and how it changes as your activity level increases. So again, there's instructions for the wrist. But look right here, count your pulse for 10 seconds and then multiply by 6 to get the beats per minute. So you can practice again if you'd like. If you did not do this the first time, you don't have it in your notebook, because this is how you gauge intensity for your activity log, is you got to know what your heart responds like. And a couple of you, looks like at least 3 of you sent me really good records of that. I know more of you did it. So for most people, the resting heart rate is between 60 and 100. We read about this in last week's reading. But if you take 220, subtract your age, that's your maximum heart rate, and you do not want to hit that very often. Target heart rate. So this is an activity we would do in class. We're not going to do it this time. I'll post a worksheet if you want to. I think it would be good for you to see this. Again, it'll have the calculations, but you don't have to. This is something hopefully we got down. This one might be a little easier though. It's called the talk test. It's a very simple way to measure the relative intensity that you're exercising at. So in general, if you're doing moderate intensity activity, you can talk, but not sing during this activity. If you're doing really vigorous intensity activity, you're not going to be able to say more than a few words without pausing for breath. Get the idea? So that might be a quicker way to tell when you don't have the handy dandiness of checking your pulse. So we're going to have to start looking around not just for stretching videos on YouTube, but you're going to need to submit an aerobics video. And there's a lot of these you're going to have to go through as well. If you'd like, again, I can post 2 that are good examples. It's going to require some coordination. Don't be afraid. Don't shy down from it. That's the end. You can skip this pump up the dice exit ticket. I will put this on the Google form that you will fill out here by the end of the day after you've gone through this lesson. All right. I believe that covers everything. Again, the focus is the heart, and tomorrow we'll start with learning muscle anatomy, and Wednesday we'll continue with skeletal muscle. Have a good day.